I don't have a gavel, but I'll. Do I need that? Call this meeting to order. Wednesday, January 15th at 6:00 PM of the Gold Hill Planning Commission. Roll call, please.
Chair Warwick,
Here.
Vice Chair Schoonover, Commissioner Hammond. Excuse. Commissioner Lilly.
Present.
Okay, public comment. Looks like I don't think we have anybody signed up.
There's no members of the public present.
Yep, okay. Next item, approval of the minutes of the last meeting.
Did you guys get those in your email? It
Yep.
was also,
Yeah, I was able to look through them.
I did as well.
I was gonna say that's as detailed a set of minutes as I've probably ever read.
isn't
So-
that amazing? Mallory did a great job.
So that, yeah, that was,
Were there any recommended edits?
for me, not that I can see.
And on mine,
Okay.
So do we have a motion to approve the minutes? Okay, I'll second. It's been motioned and seconded to approve the minutes of the 11/20/24 Planning Commission meeting. Roll call. Yes,
yes.
okay, new business. Planning projects update. Guess we'll go to Ani.
Currently for the planning action, there's a zoning clearance for a single family residence on Sixth Avenue. And there's inquiries about a new development on Ambrose or
Ambrose. Mhm.
Street. We have some pre-application applications, conferences scheduled for Thursday. One of them includes a subdivision on Second Street, and it's a proposed 44 lot subdivision. Another multi-unit application is proposed on Jacoby Street. We also have a variance for a single family dwelling on Jacoby Street, and the variance is for setback standard. So the applications that I have, that's it.
So since we saw you last, we've had a lot come before us.
Sounds like it.
And, and so there's, we're thankful that Ani has scheduled, these are our first pre-application conferences with two of the properties. One of them is going to be the variance setback one because they want to put a single family dwelling there. They started with a setback, at this point, realizing a full, let's look at the whole project so we can see what needs to happen in the whole process. There's also a request for a pending encroachment up on Seventh Avenue being proposed. And trying to think, we had a site that had plans come in that we are still in the process of reviewing as well on Fourth. So just kind of wanted to make sure. One of the purposes in the code of planning commission is that we would have projects that are before us, kind of just give you an update. Here's a list of what's going on. And so, but not to the level of violating future hearing potential, if that makes sense.
Okay,
Because a subdivision will come to you, multifamily unit, one that's being proposed as well will come to you. There's also been recently, the city was notified that another development on Jacoby is potential. So, what's happening? So that's kind of neat. And, yeah, any questions?
other than some of the stuff, applications we get, you can review administratively. It doesn't necessarily go to the planning commission, come to us.
Ani, you want to let them know about the 4 levels?
The zoning clearance permits are administrative. or
Yeah,
staff
okay.
because there's simple, most
Yeah.
of those include just, accessory structures or single family dwelling.
Right.
And then there's, 4 types of reviews, and there's one that is, it's administrative with notice, and then there's, another type that would be presented in front of the planning commission. And legislative would be, conducted in front of the council.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.
All right.
So is that it for projects update? New business, move on to code update needs.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up the website here real quick. Just a second for me.
Because I know there's a few things that we have to address.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, I'm gonna just pull up the city's website. Give me just a second. And because one of the things that's changed is we have the code on the website now, which is good. But if you, so on the cityofgoldhill.gov, charter and municipal code. Where we are is the new charter that was approved by voters is now there at the top. The version that is there is the hyperlinked version. So if there's a section that comes up, you can click that section, it'll go there. So that's a neat addition to the website. Just this next meeting on the 21st with the council, I have an amendment to Title I coming to the council, and that is under 1.20, which is related to violations of the code and general penalties of violation of the code. So this is right now very outdated, violations from $15 to $500 for various code violations. And essentially, instead of having the class levels, the proposal is sending up to $500 to the council. And so that'll be reviewed in an ordinance on Tuesday night next week, but it pertains to the whole code. So that is coming. But then other portions of the code, what we've seen is the code itself, when you go to municipal code and you look, this was last codified in 2004. And so, it'll say in each section when the sections, let me zoom in here so you can see this portion's about garbage, for instance. This portion of the code was updated in 1974. The last update on this page was done in 2001. There's a lot of things that have changed in the time since then. And some ordinances we found along the way have been added in. So violations of Title VIII, health and safety, which has to do with nuisance and things like that. The violation fees were updated in an ordinance in 2021. So, but it didn't make it into the actual code language. So I have added the ordinances in. What we find is that there's different portions that may impact development and planning. And so Title 12, streets and sidewalks, Title 13, water. Ordinance 14-05 amended the sediment control plan, and it did not actually make it into the code. So then when updates came and there was the low impact development of ordinance 13-02 in 2013, that amended 16 and 17, but that did not make it in there fully to the code. So when in 2023, you all saw the development code amendments in Title 17, it didn't include the ordinance changes that had gone into play with the sediment control of 2014 and the low impact development of 2013. These are things that were important works that were done and needing to be addressed and should have been included. So we need to update Title 17 already.
Yeah. Well,
And
and aren't we missing
Well, so this is the version that has that in there, the 17.62. So the building and construction of Title 15, the subdivisions Title 16, the zoning code of Title 17, and then the follow-up work with the maps and different things. There's work to be done. And so we're looking at delving into these and getting them taken care of. And some of it will, a big portion of it, I'm looking to bring to you because one of the other things we have is the 1984 comprehensive plan. And that dictated housing plan and traffic and basically it's the foundation of our requirements of meeting this requirement of the comprehensive plan. All it's all still in play. The comprehensive plan has never been updated since 1984. And part of that is that we have a citizen review board of code changes like these things. So they're not planning per se, because that's zoning in Title 17, but they are code updates that impact development. And the planning commission was established as the citizen review board of the city. If the planning commission is unavailable, it falls to the city council to do that. So in these cases, it would be appropriate to bring these to you as the planning commission, as the citizen review board, to review these updates. And if you're up for it, we're going to start tackling these and bringing them forward. And so there's a lot of work to be done. And so it probably won't be boring for a while.
Probably not. So on Title 17,
Yes, sir.
what's the status of the missing section regarding?
So after consulting legal
Driveways.
counsel and various things, there was a portion that was inadvertently left out of the final version that wasn't ever discussed or presented as being removed. It was basically a typo to remove it. So it's been placed back in because it was at no part of any presentation or anything that there's an intent to take this out. And I was able to find through presentation to the council, one of the counselors brought me their packet. It had it in there. And so based on that, and I consulted with DLCD and legal counsel. And so the recommendation was it wasn't intended to be removed. So the portion with it is in there and it's online.
Well, that's definitely good. And now, because there was an application potentially being held up because of that. So,
Well, there's still issues to be addressed with sediment control and drainage and different things, but ultimately state law has drainage obligations and responsibilities that even if it's not in our code impacts, but yes, there is a property that wanted an encroachment permit to do a new driveway and wanting to make sure the rules are in place for that.
so was it chapter 8, water and sewer? Was that you? I don't know what.
You want me to go back? No, water and sewer is 13.
And this doesn't have anything to do with planning, but I do know basically the sewer part of that
The sewer part needs to be removed.
can be removed.
Yep.
because we're not
There's
responsible.
some definitions that I've been working with Southern Oregon Water Tech to update definitions. And then there's utility billing items in here also to be updated. So this, it looks like this portion was updated in 2000. But a lot of this work, I mean, this portion is 1992. Just different, it's very outdated and has everything in there about sewer and water connected. And currently we had received a grant for water rate study and an STC, a system development charge study. And so we're hoping to wrap that up soon, but it's looking at our various water rates and SDCs that we charge for development. And it impacts grants and other things like that based on what we're looking at, both affordability and, are we covering the cost of running the system?
Sure.
One thing that I think would be appropriate, and you can tuck this away, that when the conversation comes up about water in this portion, if a development requires pumps, lifts, extra stuff, that development should cover the cost and the maintenance of those pumps. And it shouldn't be on the rest of the city to supplement the need of that development where most of the town is operated off of gravity.
Right.
That the intent was that anything that requires a pump would need to be maintained by the development that uses it. And so that would be appropriate to make sure is codified that way as well. Any other questions, Mr. Chair?
No.
Well, mainly because we wanted to be intentional to bring to your attention some of the needs that are coming, and because the Planning Commission has been designated by the comprehensive plan as the citizen review body, that wanted to just give you a heads up and give you a chance to start looking through those sections of the code. And as we start delving in, we also potentially have somebody that through RV Cog is going to be helping us with some of these recommended updates. So Ani has taken on some, but we got a lot of development coming through right now. So there's a whole bunch happening. And I mean, literally we have 50, 60 units in the hopper
Wow.
right now, which is huge. I
Yeah,
mean, that's
sure.
Yeah, it's a significant impact on our community right now. And I will tell you that today submitted the survey, the deadline today for the Water Caucus survey. I submitted $25 million in projects to the state legislature today of upgrades to our water intake, treatment, distribution, storage, and stormwater systems. It has to be taken incrementally and phased.
Yeah.
But right now it's on us cities to give the story to the legislature on how that is beyond the capacity of a community of 1,300 people to pay for those changes.
Right.
But it's also essential to report on the work that needs to be done. And it was incredible to get $1 million allocation last year,
And I'm
but
not,
there's still
yeah.
$24 million worth of repairs needing to be done.
no, and I'm not surprised your estimate's that high.
It's not my estimate. It was the engineer's estimate,
Well,
but yes,
the engineer, yeah, I'm not surprised.
no, it is significant. So, anyhow, that's kind of, is that a fair assessment of where we're at, Ani? Is there anything else we're missing?
And the other thing will just be the state law that need to be included. The manufacturer's there's a section of your code that is applicable anymore because of the new state laws for that. Those type of things will have to be amended.
I think it'd probably be a good idea for us to look at the whole thing. I will tell you, Title II is the section that talks about the Planning Commission itself. And there's the thing about the Citizen Review Board in there that's essentially redundant because the comprehensive plan addresses it. But yeah, there's probably no portion of our code that does not first need to be updated. And once we get it updated and it's it goes through the process of the public hearings and the reporting to everybody that it reports to, and then gets approved by the city council eventually, then we take on the challenge of getting it codified, which means putting it into the language of not an ordinance language, but putting it into code language so that it actually, and getting our code updated. My intent is to get it electronically codified and then looking at, can we have a subscription with the publishing company? So as new ordinances come into play, they codify them automatically and keep us current. A lot of other cities do that. And that way the newest regulations and laws related to development and what's going on are in the actual code. If you look at other cities in Southern Oregon and you go to their charter and code pages, they will tell you what the last ordinance that was adopted has been codified in. And so it'll tell you when it was last updated. And okay, we're currently on this ordinance, but we're only codified back to this one. And so they'll have it listed. Well, ours is 2004. 20 years of ordinances that have not been integrated into our code.
Not surprised.
Yeah. So ready to roll up your sleeves.
Okay.
Absolutely.
One other question. So the section in Title 17 that got omitted, has that been placed back in to what's showing online?
Correct.
Okay,
I also placed the 22 version that was prior to those amendments there, so you can see the old version
okay,
that was there.
okay. Does anybody have any other comments or questions?
No, sir.
Looks like next meeting, February 19th.
One other thing I would add, Mr. Chair,
Sure.
we do still have a vacancy. And so if you guys know anybody who would be interested in delving into the code with us, feel free to invite applicants.
I might bug somebody again, so. I can always give it a try. Okay, yeah, because it'd be nice to have a full panel. So, okay. So next meeting, February 19th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Yes, with that, oh, oh, okay. That's Monday's President's Day.
Yep,
Okay,
we will not be impacted by the holiday on Monday.
okay,
It's actually why the city council switched their meetings to Tuesday because there were so many holidays.
yep, that was a good idea.